All right, let's get right into your daily X report. We're breaking down everything you need to know from the platform. And wow, yesterday was a day of really sharp contrasts.
So let's rewind the clock. We're talking about everything that went down yesterday, Thursday, August 28th. And honestly, it was a day that just perfectly captured the really complex role this platform plays in all our lives. It really felt like a tale of two completely different worlds, you know? On one side, you've got these incredible leaps in technology, just mind-blowing stuff. And on the other, it was the go-to place for real-time, and I mean truly heartbreaking news from around the globe.
Okay, so let's start with the good news, with the innovation side of things. The huge story yesterday, it absolutely came from xAI. They made a really big move in the AI world, especially for developers.
They dropped something called Grok Code Fast 1. So you're probably asking, what exactly is that? Well, it's a brand new AI model, but it's lightweight, which is key. It's built specifically to handle really complex coding stuff, but do it fast, and this is the big one, affordably. Think of it like giving every programmer a super smart, super efficient new tool for their toolkit. But here's why this is such a big deal. It's all about practical use. This thing is fast, especially for what's called agentic coding. That's where the AI can basically work on its own a lot more. It works with a bunch of different languages and doesn't break the bank like some of those bigger models. And to get it out there, they did something really smart. They launched it with a free one-week trial right on GitHub Copilot. So bam, it's right in the hands of developers from day one.
And listen, this wasn't just some press release, right? The impact was immediate. We saw developers on X showing off what they were doing with it, literally building entire games in a single day. Just goes to show you how powerful this thing really is.
Now, it wasn't just about the tech. xAI was also making some pretty big moves when it comes to people, to talent. And that brings us to this number right here. So what's the story behind it?
14. That is the number of engineers Elon Musk reportedly pulled over from Meta. And look, the number itself is interesting for sure, but the real story here is the narrative that came with it. The talk was all about how these engineers were choosing xAI's mission, its purpose, over what were probably some massive paychecks to stay put.
Okay, so while all this incredible innovation was happening, the platform was also the central hub for some incredibly sobering news. It was a stark reminder of its role, as that digital town square, especially when things get really tough. And the story that was just everywhere, dominating everyone's feeds yesterday, was an absolutely heartbreaking tragedy that unfolded in Minneapolis. As the details were coming out in real time on X, the picture that emerged was just grim. We learned the shooting happened at a Catholic school, that there were multiple victims, and that included children. The suspect was apparently identified pretty quickly, in part because a manifesto had been shared online. And as you can imagine, the platform was just instantly flooded with grief, with shock, and with these really passionate calls for gun reform. And tragically, that wasn't the only crisis people were following. At the same time, X was one of the main places to get real-time information on deadly strikes that Russia launched on Kyiv. People all over the world were watching it happen, right from posts coming from people on the ground.
Okay, so while all of these major global events were going on, there was also some important journal news happening, stuff about the X platform itself and its whole ecosystem.
One of the big ones was an update to community notes. So X is now opening up its AI note writer tool to more people. But, and this is a big but, they're putting some really clear rules in place to make sure it stays trustworthy. Basically, even if a note is generated by AI, it still has to get that helpful rating from a wide range of actual people before it goes live. So humans are still that final, crucial check.
And switching gears to the broader ecosystem, Starlink hit a pretty massive milestone, a number that really shows you the incredible scale we're talking about here.
7 million. That is how many users Starlink is now connecting across the globe. Just think about that for a second. And to prove they're not slowing down, they also announced a new partnership with AO in Japan, which is going to bring satellite-to-cell service to the country. So that global reach is just getting bigger and bigger. So, wow, after a day with such intense highs and lows, where do we go from here? What are the key things we really need to keep an eye on?
Well, it really boils down to three main threads. First, on the societal side of things, we'll obviously be watching the policy discussions that come out of the tragedy in Minneapolis.
Second, on the tech front, we're going to see what developers actually do with Grok Code Fast 1. Is it going to spark a wave of new apps? We'll find out. And finally, with infrastructure, we'll be watching to see the real impact of Starlink's new deal in Japan.
And you know all of this, it just leaves us with this one really big question that yesterday put right in front of us. How do we navigate this new reality? Because what we saw was one platform, one space, delivering these incredible tools for innovation while also being the essential place people turn to during an immense tragedy. It's a duality we're all living with now.
And that's the rundown for yesterday. If you want to keep up with everything happening on X, make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for the latest report.